Welcome as we're waiting for all of the audience members to be able to come in. We have a full house tonight. We have over 100 people registered to see our show, and as soon as everyone is in place, I will begin. But welcome. We're now up to 50 people are logged in. And I'm just going to share my screen with you all. Just another minute, we wait till some more people come in. The ushers are seating them as we wait. They've got popcorn, they have their programs, and they're settling down. All right, then we'll begin. Welcome to Garrison Players' 5th Readers Theater. This evening's presentation is Romance Tonight. It features 10 scenes and monologues about love, about finding it, losing it, questioning it, celebrating it. And our show, our program, and our reputation has grown so much over the last several months that we now have actors not only from the Seacoast, but from Massachusetts and Canada as well. And again, as always, we are grateful to our sponsor, Kennebunk Savings, whose generosity makes our show possible in these COVID days. Our first scene this evening is our town. Thornton Wilder's classic tale of daily life in Grover's Corners, New Hampshire, is beloved by audiences everywhere. And in this scene, Emily Webb and George Gibbs, both of whom have grown up together, finally come to understand that there's more than mere familiarity in their relationship.
I can't, Louise. I've got to go home. Goodbye. Oh, Ernstine, can you come over tonight and do Latin? Isn't that Cicero the worst thing? Tell your mother you have to. Goodbye. Goodbye, Helen. Goodbye, Fred.
Can I carry your books home for you, Emily?
Why, thank you. It isn't far.
Excuse me a minute, Emily. Say, Bob! If I'm a little late, start practice anyway. And give Herb some long, high ones.
Goodbye, Lizzie.
Goodbye, Lizzie. I'm awfully glad you were elected, too, Emily.
Thank you.
Emily, why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
You've been treating me so funny lately.
Well, since you asked me, I might as well say it right out, George. Goodbye, Miss Corcoran.
Goodbye, Miss Corcoran. What is it?
I don't like the whole change that's come over you in the last year. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but I've got to tell the truth and shame the devil.
A change? But what do you mean?
Well, up to a year ago, I used to like you a lot, and I used to watch you as you did everything, because we've been friends so long. And then you began spending all your time on baseball, and you never stopped to speak to anybody anymore, not even to your own family. And you didn't. And George, it's a fact. You've got awful conceited and stuck up, and all the girls say so. They may not say so to your face, but that's what they say about you behind your back. And it hurts me to hear them say it, but I've got to agree with them a little. I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, but I can't be sorry I said it.
I'm glad you said it, Emily. I never thought that such a thing was happening to me. I guess it's hard for a fellow not to have faults creep into his character.
I always expect a man to be perfect, and I think he should be.
Oh, I don't think it's possible to be perfect, Emily.
Well, my father is, and as far as I can see, your father is. There's no reason on earth why you shouldn't be too.
Well, I feel it's the other way around. That men aren't naturally good, but girls are.
Well, you might as well know right now that I'm not perfect. It's not as easy for a girl to be perfect as a man because we girls are more nervous. Now, I'm sorry I said all that about you. I don't know what made me say it.
Emily,
Now I see it's not the truth at all, and suddenly I feel that it isn't important anyway.
Emily, would you like an ice cream soda or something before you go home?
Well, thank you. I would, but they're so expensive.
No, no, don't you think of that. We're celebrating our election. And then do you know what else I'm celebrating?
No?
I'm celebrating because I've got a friend who tells me all the things that ought to be told me.
George, please don't think of that. I don't know why I said it. It's not true. You're.
No, Emily, you stick to it. I'm glad you spoke to me like you did. But you'll see, I'm going to change so quick. You bet I'm going to change. And, Emily, I want to ask you a favor.
What?
Emily, if I go away to State Agriculture College next year, will you write me a letter once in a while?
I certainly will. I certainly will, George. It certainly seems like being away 3 years, you get out of touch with things. Maybe letters from Grover's Corners wouldn't be so interesting after a while. Grover's Corners isn't a very important place when you think of all New Hampshire, but I think it's a very nice town.
The day wouldn't come when I wouldn't want to know everything that's happening here. I know that's true, Emily.
Well, I'll try to make my letters interesting.
You know, Emily, whenever I meet a farmer, I ask him if he thinks it's important to go to agriculture school to be a good farmer.
Why, George?
Yeah, and some of them say that it's even a waste of time. You can get all those things anyway, out of the pamphlet the government sends out. And Uncle Luke's getting old. He's about ready for me to start in taking over his farm tomorrow, if I could.
My.
And, like you say, being gone all that time, in other places and meeting other people, gosh, if anything like that can happen, I don't want to go away. I guess new people aren't better than old ones. I bet they almost never are. Emily, I feel that you're as good a friend as I've got. I don't need to go and meet the people in other towns.
But George, maybe it's very important for you to go and learn all that about cattle judging and soils and those things. Of course, I don't know.
Emily, I'm going to make up my mind right now. I won't go. I'll tell Pa about it tonight.
Why, George, I don't see why you have to decide right now. It's a whole year away.
Emily, I'm glad you spoke to me like that. That fault in my character. What you said was right, but there was one thing wrong in it, and that was when you said that for a year I wasn't noticing people, and you, for instance. Why, you say that you were watching me when I did everything. I was doing the same about you all the time. Why, sure, I always thought about you as one of the chief people I thought about. I always made sure where you were sitting on the bleachers and who you were with. And for 3 days now, I've been trying to walk home with you, but something's always got in the way. Yesterday, I was standing over against the wall waiting for you, and you walked home with Miss Corcoran.
George, life's awful funny. How could I have not known that? Why, I thought.
Listen, Emily, I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to agriculture school. I think that once you've found a person that you're very fond of, I mean, a person who's fond of you, too, and likes you enough to be interested in your character, well, I think that's just as important as college is, and even more so. That's what I think.
I think it's awfully important too.
Emily,
Yes, George?
Emily, if I do improve and make a big change, would you be, I mean, could you be,
I I am now. I always have been.
So I guess this is an important talk we've been having.
Yes, yes.
Wait just a minute, and I'll walk you home.
Thank you. Antony and Cleopatra. History's fabled Queen of the Nile was practically tailor-made for William Shakespeare. Her love of Antony is the stuff of great romance and great tragedy. In this scene, the capricious Cleopatra, formerly the lover of Julius Caesar and now taken up with his protege, Mark Antony, awaits news of her lover's return.
Charmian,
Madam,
give me to drink mandragora,
why, madam?
that I might sleep out this great gap of time my Antony is away.
You think of him too much.
'Tis treason.
Madam, I trust not so.
Oh, Charmian, where's thou think he is now? Stands he, or sits he, or does he walk? Or is he on his horse? Oh, happy horse to bear the weight of Antony! Do bravely, horse, for what's thou whom thou movest? The demi-atlas of this earth, the arm and burgonet of men. He's speaking now, or murmuring, "Where's my serpent of old Nile?" For so he calls me. Now I feed myself with most delicious poison. Think on me, that am with Phoebus's amorous pinches black and wrinkled deep in time. Broad-fronted Caesar, when thou wast here above the ground, I was a morsel for a monarch, and great Pompey would stand and make his eyes grow in my brow. There would he anchor his aspect and die with looking on his life.
Sovereign of Egypt, hail!
How much unlike art thou, Mark Antony? Yet, coming from him, that great medicine hath with his taint gilded thee. How goes it with my brave Mark Antony?
The last thing he did, dear queen, he kissed the last of many doubled kisses. This orient pearl, his speech sticks in my heart.
Mine ear must pluck it thence.
Good friend, quoth he, say the firm Roman to great Egypt sends this treasure of an oyster, at whose foot, to mend the petty present, I will piece her opulent throne with kingdoms. All the East shall call her mistress. So he nodded, and soberly did mount an arm-gaunt steed, who neighed so high that what I would have spoke was beastly dumbed by him.
What was he, sad or merry?
Like the time of the year between the extremes of hot and cold, he was nor sad nor merry.
Oh, well-divided disposition. Note him, good Charmian. 'Tis the man. But note him, he was not sad, for he would shine on those that make their looks by his. He was not merry, which seemed to tell them that his remembrance lay in Egypt with his joy. But between both, oh, heavenly mingle, be'st thou sad or merry, the violence of either thee becomes, so does it no man else. Mettest thou my post?
Oh, aye, madam. 20 several messengers. Why do you send so thick?
Who's born that day when I forget to send to Antony shall die a beggar. Ink and paper, Charmian. Welcome, my good Alexis. Oh, did I, Charmian, ever love Caesar so?
Oh, that brave Caesar.
be choked with such another emphasis. Say, the brave Antony.
The valiant Caesar.
By Isis, I will give thee bloody teeth if thou was Caesar Paragon again, my man of men.
By your most gracious pardon, I sing but after you.
My salad days, when I was green in judgment, cold in blood, to say as I said then. But come, away. Get me ink and paper. He shall have every day a several greeting, or I'll unpeople Egypt.
Thank you. And now, the last of the Red Hot Lovers. Barney Cashman is an ordinary man living an ordinary life until one day he decides to give in to the fleshy temptations of middle age. The results, while never exactly meeting his expectations, do help give him some insight into just who he is.
Just sit there. Don't talk. Don't cough. Don't even breathe. Just sit there and shut up until I tell you you can go. If I get nothing else from you today, it's going to be your undivided goddamn attention. I'm sure it will come as no great shock to you, but you are the first attempted extramarital affair for me in 23 years of marriage. I've never kissed another woman in 23 years. I got married to my high school sweetheart. When have you heard that expression last? At the age of 24, having gone steady with her since I was 16. And how many experiences with other women do you think I had prior to getting married? One. I had one shot at it. When I was 18, my brother took me to an apartment in Newark, New Jersey, where I consorted with a 44-year-old woman who greeted me by lying naked on a brass bed, reading the newspaper. It cost me $7, and I threw up all night. I don't smoke. I don't gamble. Oh, and you've had more to drink this afternoon than I've had my whole life. I've never had a car accident, never had a fist fight, never had a broken bone, never had a temperature over 102. Life has not only been kind to me, it goes out of its way to ignore me. I got 3 kids I'm proud of, a house I've worked hard for, and a wife who's not extraordinary, not what you would call it an exciting, vivacious woman, but one who is kind, considerate, devoted, and that I happen to love. So why, after 23 years, do I write my mother's address on the back of a check, buy a bottle of scotch and 2 glasses, and pray to God I never get caught? Why? I'll tell you why. I don't know. I've never had the urge before. Not true. I started getting the urge about 5 years ago. About 2 years ago, seriously. About a year ago, I decided to give in to it. And the last 6 months, conscientiously. I'm 47 years old. And for the first time in my life, I think about dying. The thought of death has now become part of my life. I read the obituaries every day just for the satisfaction of not seeing my name there. I constantly think about how it's going to come and how I'm going to bear up to it. Do you know, I even practice dying. I lie in bed at night trying to feel myself slipping away, and I let my head drop off to the side, and I let out my last gasp of air. Well, then I go take 2 sleeping pills because I'm up the rest of the night scared out of my wits. But it's inevitable. It's going to happen someday. Maybe sooner than I think. And I ask myself, have you enjoyed it, Barney? Was it really a terrific 47 years? And you know what my answer is? Well, I wouldn't say it was terrific. It was nice. The sum total of my existence is nice. I will go to my grave having led a nice life, and I will have a nice funeral, and they'll bury me in my nice blue suit, and my wife will weep for me and mourn for me, and in 6 months she'll marry another nice fellow, maybe even give him my brown sports jacket. Well, I wouldn't condemn her for it. It's the natural order of things. Life must go on. But while it's going on, shouldn't it be better than just nice? Shouldn't there be something else besides opening the restaurant at 11 o'clock in the morning? Shouldn't there be something better than those 3 weeks every August in Saratoga Springs where I stand in the pool with 50 fat, middle-aged people wishing I were home opening the restaurant at 11 o'clock in the morning? Couldn't I just for once give in to my fantasies, my secret dreams, experiencing things, emotions, stimulants I've never experienced before? I wanted to know what it was like to be with another woman. Would I be successful? Would she like me? Would I like the touch of her? Oh, 1,000 questions that I'd never know the answer to if my name were suddenly in the obituary column in tomorrow morning's paper. So I decided to indulge myself, well, just once. I don't pretend I'm being fair to my wife. If she indulged me the same way, I'd never forgive her. I started looking around, and I promise you, with all the intentions of having one affair, one day of pleasure, and that's all. But if it was going to be just one day, I want it to be memorable, an experience so rewarding and fulfilling, it would last me the rest of my life. Not cheap, not sordid. And then I'd go back to opening the restaurant at 11 o'clock in the morning, but knowing that for one brief afternoon, I had changed the pattern of my life, and for once, I didn't just exist, I lived.
Thank you. Love Letters by A.R. Gurney. This epistolary play revolves around Indy Ladd and Melissa Gardner, as told through their ongoing correspondence from the 1930s and lasting several decades. As they grow up and grow older, their lives intertwine, and we, the audience, are privy to just short snippets of their relationship, which taken together form an intricate tapestry of the comic and dramatic threads of their lives. And we begin with the two as grade school children moving up to junior high.
Andrew Makepeace Ladd III accepts with pleasure the kind invitation of Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert Channing Gardner for a birthday party in honor of their daughter Melissa on April 19th, 1937 at 3:30 o'clock.
Dear Andy, thank you for the birthday present. I have a lot of Oz books, but not The Lost Princess of Oz. What made you give me that one? Sincerely yours, Melissa.
I'm answering your letter about the book. When you came into second grade with that stuck-up nurse, you looked like a lost princess.
I don't believe what you wrote. I think my mother told your mother to get that book. I like the pictures more than the words. Now let's stop writing letters.
I will make my L's taller than my D's.
I will close up my A's and my O's.
I will try to make longer P's. Pass it on.
You're funny.
Will you be my Valentine?
Were you the one who sent me a Valentine saying, will you be my Valentine?
Yes, I sent it.
Then I will be. Unless I have to kiss you.
When it's warmer out, can I come over and swim in your pool?
No, you can't. I have a new nurse named Miss Hawthorne who thinks you'll give me infantile paralysis.
Will you help me go down and get milk and cookies during recess?
I will, if you don't ask me to marry you again.
I will not write personal notes in class.
I will not write personal notes
I
in
will
class.
not write notes.
Not right.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Love, Andy Ladd.
I made this card myself. It's not Santa Claus. It's a kangaroo jumping over a glass of orange juice. Do you like it? I like you, Melissa.
My mother says I have to apologize in writing. I apologize for sneaking into the girls' bathhouse while you were changing into your bathing suit. Tell Miss Hawthorne I apologize to her, too.
Here is a picture of you and me without our bathing suits on. Guess which one is you? Don't show this to anyone. I love you.
Here is a picture of Miss Hawthorne without her bathing suit on.
You can't draw very well, can you?
Thank you for sending me the cactus plant stuck in the little donkey. I've gotten lots of presents here in the hospital, and I have to write thank you notes for everyone. I hate it here. My throat is sore all the time from where they cut out my tonsils. They give me lots of ice cream, but they also take my temperature the wrong way.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Why did they send you to another school this year?
Merry Christmas. They think I should be with all boys.
You made me promise to send you a postcard. This is it.
You're supposed to write personal notes on the backs of postcards. For example, here are some questions to help you think of things to say. Do you like Lake Saranac? Is it fun visiting your grandmother? Are your parents really getting divorced? Can you swim out into the deep part of that lake, or does Miss Hawthorne make you stay in the shallow part where it's all roped off? Is there anybody there my age? I mean boys. Please write answers to all these questions.
No. Yes, no.
Dear Melissa, remember me? Andy Ladd. They've sent me to camp so I can be with all boys again. This is quiet hour, so we have to write home. But I've already done that, so I'm writing you. There's a real Indian here named Iron Crow who takes us on nature walks and teaches us 6 new plants a day. This is okay, except he forgot about poison ivy. Oh, I won the backstroke, which gives me 2.5 gold stars. If I get over 50 gold stars by Parents' Day, then I win a leadership prize, which is what my father expects of me. I'm making a napkin ring in shop, which is worth 4 stars, and which is either for my mother or for you. I hope you'll write me back, because when the mail comes every morning, they shout out our names, and it would be great to walk up and get a letter from a girl.
Help! Eek, yikes! I can't write letters. It took me hours just to write Dear Andy. I write my father because I miss him so much. To write a boy? Hell's bells and oriental smells. I'm sending you this picture I drew of our cat instead. Don't you love his expression? It's not quite right, but I tried 3 times. I drew those jiggly lines around his tail because sometimes the tail behaves like a completely separate person. I love that tail. There's a part of me that feels like that tail. Oh, here's some bad news. My mother's gotten married again to a man named Hooper McPhail. Help! Let me out of here!
I like the cat. Is that the cat you threw in the pool that time when we were playing over at your house in 3rd grade?
No, that was a different cat entirely.
This is a dumb Halloween card, and it wouldn't scare anyone. But I'm really writing about dancing school. My parents say I have to go this year, but I don't see why I have to. I can't figure out why they keep sending us away from girls and then telling us we have to be with them. Are you going to dancing school also? Just write yes or no, since you hate writing.
Yes.
Dear Mrs. McPhail, I want to apologize to you for my behavior in the back of your car coming home last night from dancing school. Charlie and I were just goofing around, and I guess it just got out of hand. I'm sorry you had to pull over to the curb, and I'm sorry we tore Melissa's dress. My father says you should send me the bill, and I'll pay for it out of my allowance.
Dear Andy, Mommy brought your letter up here to Lake Placid. She thought it was cute. I thought it was dumb. I could tell your father made you write it. You and I both know that the fight in the car was really Charlie's fault. And Charlie never apologized, thank God. That's why I like him, actually. As for you, you shouldn't always do what your parents want, Andy. Even at dancing school, you're always doing just the right thing all the time. You're a victim of your parents sometimes. That was why I picked Charlie to do the rumba with me that time. He at least hacks around occasionally. I'm enclosing a picture I drew of a dancing bear on a chain. That's you, Andy, sometimes. I swear.
I know it seems jerky, but I like writing, actually. I like writing compositions in English. I like writing letters. I like writing you. I wanted to write that letter to your mother because I knew you'd see it. So it was like talking to you and you weren't here. And when you couldn't interrupt, hint, hint. My father says everyone should write letters as much as they can. It's a dying art. He says letters are a way of presenting yourself in the best possible light to another person. I think that too.
I think you sound too much like your father, but I'm not going to argue by mail. And anyway, the skiing's too good.
Get well soon. I'm sorry you broke your leg.
Mummy says I broke it purposely because I'm a self-destructive person and went down Whiteface Mountain without asking permission. All I know is I wish I had broken my arm instead, so I'd have a good excuse not to write letters. I'm enclosing a picture I drew of a bedpan. I'm serious. Don't you love its shape?
Andrew M. Ladd III accepts with pleasure the kind invitation of Mrs. R. Ferguson Brown for a dinner in honor of her granddaughter, Melissa Gardner, before the Children's Charity Ball.
I'm writing this letter because I'm scared if I called you up, I'd start crying right on the telephone. I'm really mad at you, Andy. Don't you know that when you're invited to a dinner before a dance, you're supposed to dance with the person giving it at least twice? And I don't mean my grandmother either. That's why they give dinner parties, so people get danced with. I noticed you danced with Jenny Waters, but you never danced with me once. I just think that's rude, that's all. Straighten up and fly right, Andy. How do you expect to get anywhere in life if you're rude to women? Nuts to you, Andy. And that goes double on Sunday.
I didn't dance with you because I've got a stretched groin. If you don't know what that means, look it up sometime. I was going to tell you in person, but I got embarrassed. I stretched it playing hockey last week. The only reason I dance with Ginny Waters is she takes tiny steps, but you always make me do those big spins, and we could have gotten into serious trouble. I tried it out at home with my mother first, and it hurt like hell. That's why I didn't dance with you. I'm using a heating pad now, and maybe we can dance next week at the junior assemblies.
I don't believe that hockey stuff. I think Ginny Waters stretched your groin. And next time you cut in, I'm going to stretch the other one.
Huh? You obviously don't know what a groin is.
You obviously don't know what a joke is.
Thank you. And now, Private Lives. Noel Coward's droll comedy of manners is a delightful glimpse into a time and a style lost to us since the 1920s ended. Elliot and Amanda have been married and divorced for some years, when they each remarried. As fate would have it, they both honeymoon in the same hotel, sharing the same terrace. One thing leads to another, and they rediscover the love that had been lost to them as a result of their constant bickering. So they run away together, leaving their respective spouses behind.
Would you like some brandy?
Just a little.
I'm glad we didn't go out tonight.
Well, last night.
Or the night before.
There's no reason to, really, when we're cozy here.
Exactly.
It's nice, isn't it?
Strangely peaceful. It's an awfully bad reflection on our characters. We ought to be absolutely tortured with conscience.
We are! Every now and then.
Not nearly enough.
We sent Victor and Sybil a nice note from wherever it was. What more can they want?
You're even more ruthless than I am.
I don't believe in crying over my bridge before I've eaten it.
Very sensible.
Personally, I feel grateful for a miraculous escape. I know now that I should never have been happy with Victor. I was a fool to ever consider it.
You did a little more than consider it.
Well, you can't talk.
I wonder whether they've met each other, or whether they've been suffering alone.
Oh dear, don't let's go on about it. It really does make one feel rather awful.
I suppose one or other or both of them will turn up here eventually.
Bound to. Won't be very nice, will it?
Perfectly horrible.
Do you realize that we're living in sin?
Not according to the Catholics. Catholics don't recognize divorce. We're married as much as ever we were.
Yes, dear. But we're not Catholics.
Never mind. It's nice to think they sort of back us up. We were married in the eyes of heaven, and we still are.
We may be all right in the eyes of heaven, but we look like being in the hell of a mess socially.
Who cares?
Are we going to marry again after Victor and Sybil divorce us?
Oh, I suppose so. What do you think?
I feel rather scared of marriage, really.
It is a frowsy business.
I believe it was just the fact of our being married and clamped together publicly that wrecked us before.
That and not knowing how to manage each other.
Do you think we know how to manage each other now?
Well, this week's been very successful. We've hardly used Solomon Isaacs at all.
Solomon Isaacs is so long. Let's shorten it to Solix.
All right.
Darling, you do look awfully sweet in your little dressing gown.
Yes, it's pretty ravishing, isn't it?
What fools we were to subject ourselves to 5 years unnecessary suffering.
Perhaps it wasn't unnecessary. Perhaps it mellowed and perfected us like beautiful ripe fruit.
When we were together, did you really think I was unfaithful to you?
Yes, practically every day.
I thought you were too. Often I used to torture myself with visions of you bouncing about on divans with awful widows.
Why widows?
I was thinking of Claire Lavenham, really.
Oh, Claire.
Would you say, oh, Claire, like that for? Sound far too careless to me.
What a lovely creature she was.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Oh, darling.
Did you have an affair with her? Afterwards, I mean.
Why do you want to know?
Curiosity, I suppose.
Dangerous?
Oh, not now. Not dangerous now. I wouldn't expect you to have been celibate during those 5 years any more than I was.
What?
After all, Claire was undeniably attractive. A trifle over vivacious, I always thought, but that was probably because she was fundamentally stupid.
What do you mean about not being celibate during those 5 years?
What do you think I mean?
Oh, God.
What's the matter?
You know perfectly well what's the matter.
You mustn't be unreasonable. I was only trying to stamp out the memory of you. I expect your affairs well outnumbered mine anyhow.
That's a little different. I'm a man.
Excuse me a moment while I get a caraway biscuit and change my crinoline.
It doesn't suit women to be promiscuous.
It doesn't suit men for women to be promiscuous.
Oh, very modern, dear. Really, your advanced views quite startle me.
Don't be cross, Elliot. I haven't been so dreadfully loose, actually. 5 years is a long time, and even if I did nip off with someone every now and then, they were none of them very serious.
Oh, do stop it, please.
Well, what about you?
Do you want me to tell you?
No, I don't. I take everything back. I don't.
Hand, please.
Here.
More comfortable?
Much more.
What are you thinking about?
Oh, nothing in particular.
Come on. I know that face.
Poor Sybil.
Sybil?
Yes, I suppose she loves you terribly. Poor dear Victor, he certainly did love me.
We were raving mad ever to part, even for an instant.
Utter imbeciles.
I realized it almost immediately, didn't you?
Long before we got our decree.
Thank you. Romeo and Juliet. No evening of romance would be complete without Juliet. Her devotion to Romeo is simply the archetype of young, unblemished love. And in this scene, Juliet awaits the return of her nurse, who has gone to find out from Romeo if they are to be wed. As she waits for his answer, Juliet pleads with the stars to move quickly so that she will be closer to the time when they shall be wed.
Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds, towards Phoebus' lodging, such a Wagner, as Phaethon would whip you to the west, and bring in cloudy night immediately. Spread thy closed curtain, love performing night, that runaways' eyes may wink. And Romeo, leap to these arms untalked of and unseen. Lovers can see to do their amorous rites by their own beauties. Or if love be blind, it best agrees with night. Come, civil night, thou sober-suited matron, all in black, and learn me how to lose a winning match, played for a pair of stainless maidenhoods. Hood my unmanned blood bathing in my cheeks with thy black mantle, till strange love, grown bold, think true love acted simple modesty. Come, night, come, Romeo, come thou day and night, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow on a raven's back. Oh, come, gentle night, come, loving black-browed night, give me my Romeo. And when he shall die, take him and cut him out into little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night and pay no worship to the garish sun. Oh, I have bought the mansion of a love, but not possessed it, and though I am sold, not yet enjoyed. So tedious is this day, as is the night before some festival to an impatient child that hath new robes and may not wear them. Oh, here comes my nurse, and she brings news, and every tongue that speaks but Romeo's name speaks heavenly eloquence. Now, nurse, what news?
Thank you. Blithe Spirit is our second Noel Coward presentation of the evening. And in this scene, we see Charles Condamine, whose late wife, Elvira, had been appearing to him, unseen by others. Things get decidedly more complicated when his second very much alive wife, Ruth, is killed in a car accident, arranged by the spirit of Elvira. Now the two spirit wives are stuck in Charles's home and want to get back to the other side. Charles enlists the aid of a psychic medium, Madame McCarty, to get rid of both of them. And in this scene, Charles, Ruth, and Elvira are bickering, while Madame McCarty has passed out from her efforts to conduct a seance.
Well, we've done all we can. I must say I couldn't be more exhausted.
It will be daylight soon.
That clock's always irritated me. It strikes far too slowly.
It was a wedding present from Uncle Walter.
Who's Uncle Walter?
Elvira's.
Well, all I can say is he might have chosen something a little more decorative.
If that really were all you could say, Ruth, I'm sure it would be a great comfort to us all.
You can be as rude as you like, Elvira. I don't mind a bit. As a matter of fact, I should be extremely surprised if you weren't.
Why?
The reply to that is really too obvious.
I wish you two would stop bickering for 1 minute.
This is quite definitely one of the most frustrating nights I have ever spent.
The reply to that is pretty obvious, too.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Skip it.
Now, listen to me, Elvira. If you and I have got to stay together indefinitely in this house, and it looks unpleasantly likely, we had better come to some sort of an arrangement.
What sort of an arrangement?
You're not staying indefinitely in this house.
With you, then. We shall have to be with you.
I don't see why. Why can't you take a cottage somewhere?
You called us back.
I've already explained to you until I'm black in the face that I did nothing of the sort.
Madame Akati said you did.
Madame Akati is a meddling old fool.
I could have told you that in the first place.
I think you're behaving very shabbily, Charles.
I don't see what I've done.
We all agreed that as Elvira and I are dead, that it would be both right and proper for us to dematerialize again as soon as possible. That I admit. We have allowed ourselves to be subjected to the most humiliating hocus-pocus for hours and hours without complaining.
Without complaining.
We've stood up, we've lain down, we've concentrated, we've sat interminably while that tiresome old woman recited extremely unflattering verses at us. We've endured 5 seances. We've watched her fling herself in and out of trances until we're dizzy. And at the end of it all, we find ourselves exactly where we were at the beginning.
Well, it's not my fault.
Be that as it may, the least you could do is to admit failure gracefully and try to make the best of it. Your manners are boorish to a degree.
I'm just as exhausted as you are. I had to do all that damn table tapping, remember?
If she can't get us back, she can't, and that's that. We shall have to think of something else.
She must get you back. Anything else would be unthinkable.
There's gratitude for you.
Gratitude?
Yes, for all the years we've both devoted to you. You ought to be ashamed.
What about all the years I've devoted to you?
Nonsense. We've waited on you hand and foot, haven't we, Ruth? You're exceedingly selfish and always were.
Well, in that case, I fail to see why you're both so anxious to get back to me.
You called us back, and you've done nothing but try to get rid of us ever since we came. Hasn't he, Elvira?
He certainly has.
And now, owing to your idiotic inefficiency, we find ourselves in the most mortifying position. We're neither fish, flesh, nor fowl, nor whatever it is.
Good red herring.
It can't be.
Well, why don't you do something about it? Why don't you go back on your own?
We can't. You know perfectly well we can't.
Isn't there someone on the other side that can help?
How do I know? I've only been there a few days. Ask Elvira.
I've already told you that it's no good. If we got Cagliostro, Mesmer, Merlin, Gilderetz, and the Black Douglas in a row, they couldn't do a thing. The impetus has got to come from here. Perhaps Charles doesn't want us to go quite enough.
I certainly do.
Well, you must have a very weak will, then. I always suspected it.
It's no use arguing anymore. Wake up, Madame Acarte.
Oh, not another seance. Please, not another seance.
Please wake up, Madame Acarte.
Shake her.
It might upset her.
I don't care if it kills her.
Please wake up, Madame Acarte.
Oh, God. Oh, what time is it?
5:10.
What time did I go off?
Over an hour ago.
Oh, curious, very, very curious. Aha, forgive me for a moment. I must take a note in my diary. Are they still here?
Yes.
How disappointing. Oh.
Have you any suggestions?
We mustn't give up hope. Chin up. Never give up. That's my motto. Woo!
This schoolgirl phraseology is driving me mad.
Now then.
Now then what?
What do you say we have another seance and really put our shoulders to the wheel? Make it a real rouse.
For God's sake, not another seance.
I might be able to materialize a trumpet if I tried hard enough. Oh, better than nothing, you know. I feel as fit as a fiddle after my rest.
I don't care if she materializes the whole symphony orchestra. I implore you not to let her have another seance.
Don't you think, Madame Acarte, that perhaps we've had enough seances? After all, they haven't achieved much, have they?
Sunshine, Rome was not built in a day, you know.
I know it wasn't, but...
Well then, cheer up. Away with melancholy.
Now listen, Madame Acarte, before you go off into another further trance, I think really we should discuss this a little.
Oh, good. An excellent idea. Oh, and while we're doing it, I should have another one of these delicious sandwiches. Oh, I'm hungry as a hunter. Oh.
Would you like some more beer?
Oh, no, thank you. Better not, no.
Very well. I think I'll have a small whiskey and soda.
Make it a double and enjoy yourself.
One day, I intend to give myself the pleasure of telling Madame Macate exactly what I think of her.
She's doing her best.
Ooh, are these girls getting despondent?
I'm afraid they are, rather.
We'll win through it yet. Don't be downhearted, sunshine.
If we're not very careful, she'll materialize a hockey team.
Now then, Mr. Condamine, the discussion. Fire away.
Well, my wives and I have been talking over, and they're absolutely convinced that I somehow or other called them back.
Very, very natural.
I am convinced that I did not.
Love is a strong psychic force, Mr. Condamine. It can work untold miracles. A true love call can encompass the universe.
I'm sure it can, but I must confess to you frankly that although my affection for both Ruth and Elvira is of the warmest, I cannot truthfully feel that it comes under the heading that you describe.
I should just think not, indeed.
You may not know your own strength, Mr. Condamine.
I did not call them back, either consciously or unconsciously.
But, Mr. Condamine...
That is my final word on the subject.
Neither of them could have appeared unless there had been somebody, a psychic subject in the house who wished for them.
Well, it wasn't me.
Oh, perhaps it was Dr. Bradman. I didn't know he cared.
Are you sure? Are you really, really sure?
Absolutely positive.
Thank you. Twelfth night. If music be the food of love, play on. That's the opening line of this Shakespearean comedy. Young Viola, a noblewoman, has been shipwrecked in the land of Illyria. She has chosen to disguise herself as a man and seeks to serve the Duke Orsino, who believes himself to be in love with the Countess Olivia. Olivia, however, has no interest in him. Orsino sends Viola to woo the Countess in his stead, and she speaks of love so eloquently that, well, see for yourself.
Honorable lady of the house, which is she?
Speak to me. I shall answer for her. Your will?
Most radiant, exquisite, and unmatchable beauty. I pray you, tell me if this be the lady of the house, for I never saw her. I would be loath to cast away my speech, for besides that it is excellently well penned, I have taken great pains to con it. Good beauties, let me sustain no scorn. I am very comfortable, even to the least sinister usage.
Whence came you, sir?
I can say little more than I have studied, and that question's out of my part. Good gentle one, give me modest assurance if you be the lady of the house, that I may proceed in my speech.
Are you a comedian?
No, my profound heart, and yet, by the very fangs of malice, I swear I am not that I play. Are you the lady of the house?
If I do not usurp myself, I am.
Most certain, if you are she, you do usurp yourself, for what is yours to bestow is not yours to reserve. But this is from my commission. I will on with my speech in your praise, and then show you the heart of my message.
Come to what is important. I give you the praise.
Alas, I took great pains to study it, and 'tis poetical.
It is more than like to be feigned. I pray you keep it in. I heard you were saucy at my gates, and allowed your approach rather to wonder at you than to fear you. If you be not mad, be gone. If you have reason, be brief. 'Tis not that time of moon with me to make one, and so skipping a dialogue.
I am to hold here a little longer. Some mollification for your giant, sweet lady? Tell me your mind. I am a messenger.
Sure, you have some hideous matter to deliver, and the courtesy of it is so fearful. Speak your office.
It alone concerns your ear. I bring no overture of war, no taxation of homage. I hold the olive in my hand. My words are as full of peace as matter.
Yet you began rudely. What are you? What would you?
The rudeness that hath appeared in me have I learned from my entertainment. What I am and what I would are as secret as maidenhead. To your ears, divinity. To any others, profanation.
Now, sir, what is your text?
Most sweet lady.
A comfortable doctrine, and much may be said of it. Where lies your text?
In Arsenio's bosom.
In his bosom? In what chapter of his bosom?
To answer by the method, in the first of his heart.
Oh, I have read it. It is here received. Have you no more to say?
Good madame, let me see your face.
Have you any commission from your lord to negotiate with my face? You are now out of your text. But we will draw the curtain and show you the picture. Thank you, sir. Such a one I was this present. Not well done.
Excellently done, if God did all.
'Tis in grain, sir, to endure wind and weather.
'Tis beauty truly blent, whose red and white nature's own sweet and cunning hand laid on. Oh, lady, you are the cruelest she alive, if you will lead these graces to the grave and leave the world no copy.
Oh, sir, I will not be so hard-hearted. I will give out divers schedules of my beauty. It shall be inventoried, and every particle and utensil labeled to my will as item 2 lips, indifferent red. Item 2 brown eyes with lids to them. Item 1 neck, 1 chin, and so forth. Were you sent hither to praise me?
I see you what you are. You are too proud. But if you were the devil, you are fair. My lord and master loves you. Oh, such love could be but recompensed, though you were crowned the nonpareil of beauty.
How does he love me?
With adorations, fertile tears, with groans that thunder love, with sighs of fire.
Your lord does know my mind. I cannot love him. Yet I suppose him virtuous, know him noble, of great estate, of fresh and stainless youth, in voices well divulged, free, learned, and valiant, and in dimension and the shape of nature, a gracious person. Yet I cannot love him. He might have took his answer long ago.
If I did love you in my master's flame, with such a suffering, such a deadly life, in your denial I would find no sense. I would not understand it.
Why? What would you?
Make me a willow cabin at your gate, and call upon my soul within the house. Write loyal cantons of condemned love, and sing them loud, even in the dead of night. Halloo your name to the reverberate hills, and make the babbling gossip of the air cry out, "Oh, Olivia! Oh, you should not rest between the elements of air and earth, but you should pity me."
You might too much. What is your parentage?
Above my fortune, yet my state is well. I am a gentleman.
Get you to your lord. I cannot love him. Let him send no more, unless, perchance, you come to see me again, to tell me how he takes it. Fare you well. I thank you for your pains. Spend this for me.
I am no feed post, lady. Keep your purse. My master, not myself, lacks recompense. Love, make his heart a flint that you shall love, and let your fervor, like my master's, be placed in contempt. Farewell, fair cruelty.
What is your parentage? Above my fortunes, yet my estate as well. I am a gentleman. Oh, I'll be sworn thou art thy tongue, thy face, thy limbs, actions, and spirit do give thee fivefold blazon. Not too fast, soft, soft. Unless the master were the man. How now? Even so quickly may one catch the plague. Methinks I feel this youth's perfections with an invisible and subtle stealth to creep in at mine eyes. Well, let it be. But ho, Malvolio!
Here, madam, at your service.
Run after that same peevish messenger, the country's man. He left this ring behind him. Would I or not, tell him I'll none of it. Desire him not to flatter with his lord, nor hold him up with hoax. I am not for him. If that youth will come this way tomorrow, I'll give him reasons for it. Hie thee, Malvolio.
Madam, I will.
I do, I know not what, and fear to find mine hide too great a flatterer for my mind. Fate, show thy force. Ourselves we do not owe. What is decreed must be, and be this so.
Were you not even now with the Countess Olivia?
Even now, sir, on a moderate pace, I have since arrived but hither.
She returns this ring to you, sir. You might have saved me my pains to have taken it away yourself. She adds, moreover, that you should put your lord into a desperate assurance that she will none of him. And one thing more, that you never be so hardy as to come again in his affairs, unless it be to report your lord's taking of this. Report it so.
She took the ring of me, I'll none of it.
Come, sir, you peevishly threw it to her, and her will is it should be so returned. There it is. If it be worth stooping for, there it lies in your eyes. If not, be it his who finds it.
I left her no ring. What means this lady? Fortune forbid my outside have not charmed her. She made good view of me, indeed, so much that sure me thought her eyes had lost her tongue, for she did speak in starts distractedly. She loves me, sure. The cunning of her passion invites me in this churlish messenger. None of my lord's rings, why, I sent her none. I am the man, if it be so, as 'tis. Or lady, were better to love a dream. Disguise, I see thou art a wickedness, wherein the pregnant enemy does much. How easy it is for the proper false in women's waxen hearts to set their forms. Alas, our frailty is the cause, not we. Such as we are made, such we be. Oh, how will this fadge? My master loves her dearly, and I, poor monster, fond as much on him. And she, mistaken, seems to dote on me. What will become of this? As I am man, I am desperate for my master's love. As I am woman, oh, now alas the day! What thriftless sighs shall poor Olivia breathe? O time, thou must untangle this, not I. It is too hard a knot for me to untie.
Thank you. Love, Rosie. Rosie and Alex have known each other all their lives. Unfortunately, they have spent much of that time misunderstanding and misinterpreting the events and situations that they were involved in, both together and apart. And when Alex gets married, Rosie rises to give a toast to the bride and groom and discovers something about herself in the process.
Final word of warning. Alex can hold his drink to almost a lethal degree, as I found out the night of my 18th birthday, when he thought a night of tequila slammers was the way to go. Oh, you know, when someone says that they were so drunk that the whole night is a blank, and you go, no way, that's not possible. Well, believe me, it's possible. Choosing the person that you want to share your life with is one of the most important decisions that any of us makes ever. Because when it's wrong, it turns your life to gray. And sometimes you don't even notice until you wake up one morning and realize that years have gone by. We both know about that one, Alex. Your friendship has brought glorious technicolor to my life. Even in the darkest of times, it's been there. And I'm the luckiest person alive for that gift. I hope I didn't take it for granted. I think maybe I did. Because sometimes you don't see that the best thing that ever happened to you is sitting there, right under your nose. But that's okay too. It really is. Because I've realized that no matter where you are, or what you're doing, or who you're with, I will always, honestly, truly, completely love you. Like a sister loves a brother, and a friend loves a friend. I will always stay in guard of your dreams, Alex, no matter how weird or twisted they get. So, please, everybody, join me in a toast to the bride and groom.
Thank you. And now our final scene of the evening. Same time next year. Bernard Slade's touching comedy revolves around a particularly unusual relationship. George and Doris, both married, have a brief affair in 1951. They decide to meet in the same place once a year. As time goes by, their relationship grows deeper as they share the stories of the ups and downs of their respective families. Additionally, they experience the changes that America goes through during the latter half of the 20th century. And we see them now in one of their later meetings.
You feel so good.
So do you. But you look tired. You okay?
I've looked this way for years. You just haven't noticed. I feel better now I'm here. This room's always had that effect on me.
It never changes, does it?
About the only thing that doesn't.
I find that comforting.
Even old Chalmers is the same. He must be 75 by now. Remember when we first came here, we called him Old Chalmers. He must have been about the same age then that we are now.
That I don't find so comforting.
We were very young.
Have we changed much?
Of course. I grew up with you. Remember the dumb lies I used to tell?
I miss them.
I don't. It was no fun being that insecure.
And what about me? Have I grown up too?
I have the feeling you were already grown up when I met you. Tell me something.
Anything.
Why is it that every time I look at you, I want to put my hands all over you?
That's another thing that hasn't changed. You were always a sex maniac.
Let's see if I can get a fire started here. You know, I figured out that with the cost of firewood, it's cheaper to buy furniture, break it, and burn it.
Things that tight?
Oh, no, I'm okay. I've been doing some teaching at UCLA.
Music?
Accounting. The way things keep changing, figures are still the only things that don't lie. Doris, why did you sell your business?
How'd you know that?
I'll tell you later. What made you do it?
I was bought out by a chain. It was the right offer at the right time.
You don't miss the action?
Not yet. I guess I'm still enjoying being one of the idle rich.
But what do you do with yourself?
Oh, read, watch TV, play a little golf, visit my grandchildren. You know, all the jet set stuff.
But I thought you loved working.
Well, there was another factor. Harry had a heart attack. It turned out to be a mild one, but he needed me at the time. Anyway, it's not as if I'm in permanent retirement. There's a local election coming up in a few months, and I've been approached to run.
On what ticket?
Independent.
Figures. Harry's okay now?
Runs 4 miles a day and has a body like Mark Spitz. Unfortunately, he still has a face like Ernest Borgnine's. You want to hear a nice story about him?
Sure.
When they were wheeling him out of intensive care, he looked up at the doctor and said, "Doc, give it to me straight. After I get out of here, will I be able to play the piano?" The doctor said, "Of course." And Harry said, "Funny, I couldn't when I came in." The thing is, Harry never makes jokes. But he saw how panicky I was, and he wanted to make me feel better.
How are you and Harry emotionally?
Comfortable. Oh, it's not such a bad state. The word's been given a bad reputation by the young. Where's your luggage? Still in the car?
I didn't bring any. I can't stay, Doris.
Why?
Look, I have so much to say and a short time to say it, so I better start. First of all, Helen's known about us for 10 years.
When did she find that out?
2 months ago.
Well, she never confronted you with it before. Well, what made her tell you now?
She didn't. We have a very close friend, Connie. Have I mentioned her before? Connie told me. 10 years and she never even hinted that she knew. That may be the nicest story I've ever told about hers.
Your wife's an amazing woman.
She passed away, Doris. I lost her 6 months ago. It was all very fast. Sorry to blurt it out like that. I just couldn't think of a graceful way to tell you. You okay, honey?
It's so strange. I never met Helen, and I feel as if I've just lost my best friend. It's crazy. Are the kids okay?
They'll survive. I don't think I could have gotten through the whole thing without them.
I just wish you'd tried to reach me.
I did. That's when I found out you'd sold the stores. I called and they gave me your home number. I let the phone ring 4 times, and I hung up. But it made me feel better knowing you were there if I needed you.
I wish you'd spoken to me.
I didn't want to intrude. I didn't feel I had the right.
My God, that's terrible. We should have been together.
I've been thinking about us a lot lately. Everything we've been through together, the things we've shared, the times we've helped each other. Well, did you know we've made love 113 times? I figured it out on my TI-83 calculator. It's a wonderful thing to know someone that well. There is nothing about you I don't know. It's 2 sugars, right?
No, 1.
So, I don't know everything about you. I don't know who your favorite movie stars are, and I couldn't remember the name of your favorite perfume. I racked my brain, but I couldn't remember.
That's funny. It's my sin.
But I do know that in 24 years, I've never been out of love with you. I find that incredible. So, what do you say, Doris? Want to get married?
Married? We shouldn't even be doing this.
I'm serious.
You really are, aren't you?
What did you think I was? Just another summer romance? A simple yes will do.
There's no such thing.
What is it?
I was just thinking of how many times I've dreamed of you asking me this. It's pulled me through a lot of bad times. I want to thank you for that.
And what did you say to me all those times?
I always said yes.
And you're hesitating now. Do you realize I'm giving you the opportunity to marry a man who has known you for 24 years and cannot walk by you without wanting to grab your ass?
You always were a sweet talker.
Well, that's because if I told you how I really felt about you, it'd probably sound like a medley of cliches from popular songs. Will you marry me?
I can't.
Why not?
I'm already married.
You feel you have to stay because he needs you.
No, it's a lot of things. Affection, respect, a sense of continuity. We share all the same memories. It's comfortable. Maybe that's what marriage is all about in the end. I don't know.
Will you please tell me why I had to be so stupid 5 years ago to help you get back together? I mean, why was I so damn generous?
Because you felt the same way about Helen then as I do about Harry now. And if I hadn't gone back to Harry, you might have been stuck with me permanently. And you were terrified.
You could always see through me, couldn't you?
That's okay. I always loved what I saw.
Well, I want you now.
You can still have me once a year. Same time, same place.
Thank you. And that concludes our show for the evening. Thank you to our audience, of course, to all of the performers, to the Garrison Players Art Center Board, and to our sponsor, Kennebunk Savings. And don't forget that the next Garrison Readers Theater will be announced soon. And please consider donating to keep theater going and vibrant. And I'd like to have all our actors come back and take their bows, because we're all so grateful for all the work they've done. Thank you all. And they are Diane Ficara, Allison Rakowski, Ella Orchard Bowers, Renda Brooks, Megan Thomas, Amy Estes, Mark Miller, Patrick Murphy, Anne-Marie King, Ray Curran, Jewel Beth Davis, Eddie McGee, Mike Pomp, Rick Kincaid, Nika Shama Cordova, Ollie Oberto, Christine Fraser, Andrew Pomeroy, Jake Cullen, and O'Leary Lane. Thank you all, and have a wonderful night. Thank you all. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.